Nobody at Ridgecrest Animal Control had ever seen a dog refuse food for that long and survive. 23 days. And on day 24, a young woman named Claire walked in, ignored every warning they gave her, and sat down on the floor of his kennel without asking permission. The security camera above Kennel 7 recorded what happened next. When the staff reviewed the footage that evening, 3 of them cried. His name was Rex, an 85-pound German Shepherd surrendered at the side of Millbrook Road at 9:47 p.m. on a Thursday. Found sitting in the breakdown lane with no tag, no microchip, and no reaction to the officers who approached him. He didn't run. He didn't growl. He simply sat in the dark and waited, the way a dog waits when it has stopped expecting anything good. At the facility, they placed him in Kennel 7. The intake form noted his condition: severely underweight, coat intact, no external injuries, eyes responsive. And then, in handwriting at the bottom of the page, one of the officers had added a single line: "He looks like he's already gone somewhere else." They gave him food that first night. He didn't touch it. By the second morning, the bowl was still full. By day 5, the staff tried different food, different approaches, quieter rooms. By day 10, the veterinarian came. The exam came back clean. No illness, no injury, no physical reason for what was happening. "Acute grief response," she said quietly. "Something broke in him. He's shutting down, and there is nothing in that cabinet that can fix what he lost." By day 20, Rex had stopped standing when staff entered the kennel. He lay against the far wall, breathing slowly, eyes tracking movement but registering nothing. The facility had a protocol for situations like this. Nobody wanted to follow it, but day 23 had come and gone, and the bowl was still full. Her name was Clare, 24 years old. She worked part-time at a garden center and volunteered at Ridgecrest on Saturdays. She had a quiet way about her that the staff had noticed over months. She never rushed animals, never spoke above a soft murmur, never reached for a dog that hadn't already come to her. On that Saturday morning, the facility manager, a man named Frank, stopped her before she reached the kennel wing. "Don't go to 7 today. I mean it, Claire. He's not in a good place." "What happened to him?" she asked. Frank told her everything. The road, the nights without eating, the vet's assessment, the protocol they were approaching. Claire listened without interrupting. Then she walked to Kennel 7. Frank started to say something, but she was already inside. She didn't approach Rex. She stepped in, left the gate ajar behind her, and sat down against the opposite wall with her back to the concrete, knees drawn up, hands in her lap. She didn't speak, she didn't reach toward him, she just sat there, in the same space he occupied, close enough to be present and far enough to make no demand. Rex didn't move. He kept his eyes on her from across the kennel, head still down, chin resting on the floor. He watched her the way broken things watch, not with hope, just with a faint, automatic attention that hadn't fully shut down yet. For the staff watching from the corridor window, it was almost painful to look at. 2 beings on opposite sides of a concrete room, one of them choosing to stay without being asked, the other too exhausted to know what that meant yet. She stayed like that for 40 minutes. Then she left, refilled his bowl from the bag she'd brought, placed it exactly where the previous bowl had been, and walked out without looking back. Frank was waiting in the corridor. "Claire," she said, "I'll be back tomorrow." The security footage from Kennel 7, reviewed by staff at the end of that shift, showed something no one had seen in 23 days. At 6:14 p.m., 40 minutes after Claire left, Rex stood up. He walked to the bowl she had refilled, and he ate.
I see you still haven't subscribed. Honestly, that breaks my heart. Hit that button. You won't want to miss what happens next. Claire came back the following day, and the day after that. She brought food from home, plain portions placed the same way every time. She sat in the same corner. She never pushed Rex toward anything. She just kept showing up. By the end of the first week, Rex was standing when she arrived. He would be on his feet the moment he heard her footsteps in the hallway. By the end of the second week, he walked to the gate before she even opened it. On the 14th day, he crossed the kennel floor and laid down next to her without being asked. The staff marked it on the whiteboard outside Kennel 7. They didn't write anything, they just drew a small check mark. Stories like this are why we're here. If something in you just shifted, you already know what this channel is for. It was Frank who eventually pulled the intake records and made the calls. Rex had belonged to a man named Thomas, 71 years old, who had lived alone outside the county line. Thomas had passed away suddenly in February. His daughter drove 4 hours to handle the estate and found Rex in the backyard, where he'd been alone for 11 days. She'd brought him to the nearest road and left him. She had dogs of her own, she said. She couldn't take another. When Clare heard that, she sat quietly for a long moment. 11 days alone, she said, then dropped on a road. She looked at Frank. How is he still here? Frank didn't answer. He didn't have one. Clare went to Kennel 7. She sat on the floor next to Rex and placed her hand on the back of his neck. He didn't flinch. He pressed his head into her shoulder and stayed there. The security camera recorded that too. At 4:47 p.m. that same afternoon, Clare walked back to Frank's office and placed a form on his desk without saying a word. Frank looked at it. Adoption paperwork, already filled out. He signed his section without hesitating. Rex left Ridgecrest on a Tuesday morning. Clare had the leash loose in her hand, giving him room. He walked through the facility's front door, paused at the threshold for 3 seconds, long enough that Clare held her breath, and stepped outside. He did not look back. Today, Rex is unrecognizable from the dog in the intake photos. His weight is fully restored. His coat is thick and healthy, the rich black and tan that German Shepherds carry when everything inside them is finally working again. He runs. He greets strangers on walks with a calm confidence that surprises people who know his history. But he still sleeps pressed against the wall on Clare's side of the room, not at the foot of the bed, right there, close enough that she can reach down in the dark and feel him breathing. And every morning, without fail, he is already awake when she opens her eyes. The staff at Ridgecrest kept a copy of the Kennel 7 footage. They still show it to new volunteers, not as a feel-good clip, but as a lesson in what it actually takes to reach something broken. You don't fix a dog like Rex with food or medicine or the right technique. You fix him by showing up, the same way every single day, until he remembers that not every door leads to a road in the dark. Would you have walked into that kennel or listened to the warning? Tell me in the comments.